The Supernote A5 and the DPT-CP1. We didn't choose the RP1 because that's a 13.3 and this is a 10.3, so it just looks better in the comparison. These two are very similar because they don't have Android. Well, this does, but doesn't have apps and stuff, or the Google Play framework on it, so it might as well not have Android. This is Linux. They don't have audio. They don't have stylus loops on the side, although the CP1 and the DP1 actually have a little magnetic snap, whereas the Rata you'll have, or the Supernote, sorry, will have to rely on the lapel clip on the cap, or depending on your size of stylus, you can use the case little loop there anyways. And these both have a single use purpose effectively, and that is to not so much even read, because they're not e-readers, they're digital note-taking slate tablets with e-ink, if you want to call it that. They also both don't have a home screen. This is the home screen. Pressing the top button gives you a menu, and sliding down the slider bar gives you yet another menu. There actually isn't a home screen on either of these. We're not even going to look at reading at this time, because this can read EPUB, TXT, and a whole bunch of different ebook formats, whereas this literally just runs PDFs. And I like how they write .pdf after each one of the file names as if it reads anything else, because it doesn't. The Sony is completely a single-use device, and that is the note-taking experience. Create new note. And with the Rata Supernote, you have to slide down the side, click note, and we can create a note all the same. We're going to check it out right now. Compared to, say, an Onyx, the Supernote has very limited functionality. The Sony has very limited functionality. We're going to start with the Sony. Well, first we'll look at the styluses. The stylus on the Sony is unique to itself. It has two buttons, an eraser button, and a highlight button. It also has a faux graphite tip for the pen, and it does have a little bit of give. Now, the problem with this pen is that it isn't too easy to replace. In fact, it's upwards of $150 in some market. It also needs to be charged by micro USB at the back in order to use it. You can't use any other pen except this one. And the nibs and the pen itself, if you lose it, can get a little bit expensive over time. The Rata is not any cheaper, and we're not talking about a standard Wacom stylus like this one that works on Onyx and Boyu and Jezitech and everything else. We're talking about this, and this is one of the most intricate stylus we've ever seen. It's weighted very nice, it's made out of metal, it mimics an actual pen, it looks like a gel pen, and you can even do a little miniature teardown on camera, and it looks like a pen refill. We're starting on the Sony because the features are so minimal, we'll burn through it really quick. So, writing, you don't have pressure sensitivity. Although you do get a little pushback here, it is mostly for the ease of writing rather than pressure. So I'll just write here, Peter is using the Sony DPT. All right, we're done. No, I'm just kidding. There's a couple more things. You can press and hold the eraser button, and that will allow you to erase stroke by stroke, like so. Very nice. Tapping in the center, you get some options that should come up. There you go. So the options are blue and red. Anything that is black will be blue. Anything that is gray, like that once it processes, will be red. Now obviously you can't see blue and red on camera or on the device itself, not even on camera. You have to wait till you export it or take go into your device's hard drive, hard storage, and look at it. Then it will be that color. You also get pen thicknesses. There's only 5. You can't go any deeper than that. And there's no way to pinch and zoom. So to do that, you actually have to click this, click the area in which you want to zoom. It only zooms that much. You can continue writing from there and then exit. So that's basically all you can do with that. The more here has page jump, thumbnails, annotation list, document side by side, 2-page spread, free flow, all that. The most important one here is document side by side. And what this will do is allow you to split your whole device. And I didn't anchor this down for this reason. You can actually have anything on one side and anything on the other. For example, if I go to my basic operation guide, there it is on this side. And I can make notes on this side. And I can make notes on this side. And you can choose anything on either side. And that's really cool because it doesn't restrict you to just a notepad and then something. It's actually something and something. You can choose two different things. You've essentially split your entire UI into two sides, and that is very nice. But other than that, there isn't anything else you can do. There's no backgrounds. The only way to get a background is to actually create a new note, in which case it will give you the choice to make a background right out of the gates. But if you've drawn all these notes on your previous notepad and want to change the background, well, you can't, because you can only do it from the very beginning. We'll choose the highlighter really quick because I want to show you. You have light gray, gray, and black. So although the Sony does have red and blue, which is black and gray, this actually has 3 different colors that you can use anytime you want, and you don't have to export it to see it. You do have the pen, which means you can write normally. Peter is using the Supernote. So it's very nice, and this actually has very little latency, so if you compare them side by side, you'll see that it's basically just as fast as the Sony, which is saying a lot because the Sony's writing experience is great. We're going to clear the whole page for a second and go to the pencil so we can make a solid line like that. We're going to make, actually, you know what? We're going to take this opportunity to draw this amazing box, and what we're going to do is use the selector tool to select said box and move it around. Here and now, as of May 2019, you actually can't expand it or make it any smaller or bigger or even rotate it. However, you can do the stamping feature, which effectively just copies it as many times as you want, which is very nice because if you've drawn something very extensive, you can move it around and so forth. You do have different ways to do eraser. You have spot eraser, you have selector eraser, which will erase a designated area, and of course erase all as we showed you, like so. Now I must mention that they do actually put a screen protector on this device from factory. It isn't a screen protector in the sense where it's like your smartphone screen protector, but it's a very thin layer of rubber that offers grip and feedback. So as you're drawing along, and if you were to press down, you almost feel the rubber screen protector dip in like that. And as you're drawing along, you get that same resistance you get from a piece of paper, which is very nice. You do have some other options like share. You have to log into your email. You have screenshot, copy, and you have backgrounds that you can actually change on the fly. Now, something else I want to mention that the Supernote does that the Sony doesn't, actually that no other device does, is if I draw a star, for example, it'll actually turn itself into a perfectly amazing, beautiful star, and depending on how big you draw it, it will do the same thing. This is very nice because in the future they're going to allow you to do things like hearts, exclamation marks, question marks, and even smiley faces in the future, which is going to be great because if you're trying to draw something almost clip art like, you're able to do that. You can also add quick access, which basically means if you slide this down, you can quick access all the stuff that you've saved. It can be anything from an EPUB, a PDF, or the note-taking experience itself. These two devices are very high quality writing devices. When you look at something like a Boyu or an Onyx or Whiskey E, right, you're seeing an Android experience with Facebook and games and chess and all sorts of bogged down stuff first. You see note-taking second with all those devices as they have audio and SIM card slots and all sorts of stuff. These don't do anything else. This is running a skinned version of Android that won't even allow you to look at images. This is running Linux. This is, to this date, the greatest writing feel of any device. We've seen a lot of devices come and go. We've seen the Wacom Styli. We've seen a lot of different companies take a crack at note-taking on devices, and they say, oh, it feels like paper, it feels like this, feels like that. Some use glass screens, some use plastic. Nothing feels like this, and nothing feels as real as drawing on a Sony. Like it feels just like drawing on a piece of paper. It's the graphite and the screen combination. It's amazing. There's very little latency. It follows you perfectly. There's nothing else to focus on this device except for note-taking. Hit us up if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns for GrittyReader.com in comparison between, well, these two. This is Peter.